We begin this hour with breaking news out of Pennsylvania and the killing of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Luigi Mangione could face 4 federal charges on top of the 11 state charges in New York. He's on his way back to the state where prosecutors say he gunned down the UnitedHealthcare CEO after waiving extradition. You might see Mangione in Manhattan in front of a judge as early as later on today. So let's go now to CBS News correspondent Nicole Valdes outside the courthouse in Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania. Nicole, thank you for joining us. Can you go over what happened inside the courtroom and Luigi Mangione's demeanor during all of this?
Hi, Liz. Yeah, Luigi Mangione today a lot calmer than what we saw his first time he made an appearance here at the Blair County Courthouse. He actually seemed almost comfortable. We saw him exchanging smiles and laughs with his attorney throughout the 2 hearings we watched unfold today, swaying in his chair, really unfazed by the amount of people that were in the gallery behind him. And let me tell you, it was a zoo in there. So many people, standing room only at one point. Not only, of course, media from across the country, but even spectators who traveled across state lines to be here and see Mangione in court and in person. Now, sitting right behind Mangione was a line of about 15 NYPD officers. Likely they are ready to transport him to that state as soon as that extradition hearing wrapped up. So what we saw happen today was a couple of things. They discussed some of the court proceedings in terms of those Pennsylvania charges, which we know are the weapons and forgery charges. But then we had a big gap between the hearings where we were expected to hear whether or not he planned to fight his extradition back to New York. About a half hour or so where we saw both his defense attorney and the prosecution for the Commonwealth go back and enter the judge's chambers. It looks as if they had quite the discussion there and maybe discussed some kind of agreement. When they emerged and came back into the courtroom, we saw Mangione's defense attorney, Thomas Dickey, there have a very animated conversation with him, likely about what they discussed. Court clerks brought that waiver and it was basically said and done. The judge ordered that he would then be remanded to NYPD's custody, and he is on his way there right now, Liz.
Right away, he was put into an SUV and then later a small plane to go to New York. So what comes next for Mangione later on today?
Well, it looks like he could be heading straight to another courtroom, whether that is criminal court for the state charges he's facing, those murder charges. Again, not only first-degree murder, but other murder charges attached to that word, terrorism. There is also the chance he could be heading to a federal court if those charges that we do expect to be revealed later today are done so before he arrives in the state.
Yeah, there are 4 new federal charges against Luigi Mangione. Can you walk us through why lawyers decided to do that?
Well, we're still waiting, I think, for a lot of information on the motivation behind escalating it to a federal charge, right? I think once we see those charges drop, we will have a lot more understanding of really the expected goal of that. Right now, we do know that the Manhattan District Attorney has been very vocal about wanting to get Mangione back in the state to face those very serious charges. But it looks as if the FBI is hoping to possibly send an even stronger message with federal charges on top of that.
Yeah, it's interesting to see if the impact of this, the overwhelming support that Mangione has received from people online and social media, people actually giving him money to support his legal causes there. So it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. CBS News correspondent Nicole Valdes, thank you so much, Nicole.